1795, that's before seven, eight, about 8 generations of people about, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, at least 6 or 7.
And the way they written everything down there, I don't know.
The census takers didn't. They didn't know. They just
they
misspelled
a lot of
They
things.
made a whole lot of mistakes. I've been through a lot of them.
Yeah.
You're talking. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, what was that, Dotson, you were saying?
Dorinda, I think.
Dorinda.
That sounds, I'm not sure
now,
about
there's
that.
a lady, I can't think what her name or last name. It was an odd name. It wasn't used much. And she died up here in Robertson County, close to Sardis. And she was 98 or 100 years old when she died. And
did they tell you about his grandmother?
no.
His grandmother, Clarence and
Cleveland's
mother, left her husband William to run away with William's cousin named White. And they went to Kansas City or somewhere out in Missouri, and she had 6 more children.
Oh, Lord.
That's what started all this. It was this, we heard this story and
we raised 2 and that were plenty.
I never heard my father talk about his mother at all. And didn't find out till we got into this and found out that she'd run away with another man.
That's nothing new today.
But she left those 2 boys there. The 2
Clarence and
oldest
Cleveland.
boys there.
I tell you, I went to a wedding one time, and I was sitting out there on the 3rd seat, and yep, they were wearing that boy, and there was another boy sitting over on the right, and she got that for alley. I said to the pastor, I said about 8 months, I said, you'll be a boy up there, and he'll have the ladies. It happened sooner or later.
So can you tell us what you remember about Clarence and Cleveland?
Well, I knew them well.
Can you tell us a story?
I tell you, they were fine people. More than a better fellow than Clarence Moore.
How so?
Too, but I knew Clarence a little better than I did Steve. But he was that fellow.
Now, was the Clarence the one that picked up the trash?
No, what you're talking about, what do you name? David. David Moore.
Oh, David.
He thought his brother lived in Lexington by the name of Bill. Bill Moore.
Well, Bill Moore, he was one that was
He was.
in World War II. He was captured.
Yeah, but he
was the
don't have no
prisoner of
help
war.
no more.
No, he's passed away.
So what did Clarence do?
Clarence was a farmer, the Belter man. He was. And he was a real farmer. He lived up on family up for about 25, 30 years, didn't he?
I went, when I was a kid, we went there 2 or 3 times a month, it seemed like. And Clarence always had vegetables for us and meat in the wintertime. He had a smokehouse there. He kept all kinds of bacon and ham in there. And we stopped in there real often. And Clarence was real nice to us.
And he was an outfielder to everybody.
He had 2 mules that
I know.
did his plowing with. Had to cross a creek to get to his house.
Yeah.
And if the creek was up, if the
the
creek was up, we couldn't stop.
yeah.
But one time it was up pretty high, and he yelled across the creek that he'd go get the sled and come get us.
Yeah.
So we went across the creek on the sled, mules pulling it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. But that old house he lived in is gone now.
Yeah.
There's a newer house there now. Yeah.
Now he had 2 daughters, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
One married a shepherd and one married a, over a period of time, you take 50 years about, it don't thumb up like it used to. The computer is throwing down on it.
But
One of them moved to Lexington, didn't she, and worked for a paper company, but I never could connect with her.
Yeah.
we found Clarence's grave in the cemetery there in Mount Olivet.
That's
It was
right.
all covered over. You couldn't even tell there was a marker there.
It was
Yeah.
bushes over
Bushes
there.
all covered it over completely, but we found it.
Yeah. No, the computer have slowed down up here.
So do you remember Cleveland?
Yeah, I do.
What about him?
I remember him. He was older. Cleveland were older and Clarence, weren't he?
2 years.
Yeah.
What?
Older.
2 years
Older, 2 years
But
older.
the census had them reversed.
Yeah. I tell you, son, I don't know, but they wouldn't have that at 1795 up there, would they? Where could have been?
It ought to be in Mason.
It
Well-
might have been in Virginia.
Yeah. No telling.
Could have been Virginia
You
then.
would have
Those
been
were the
talking
records they
to
said
me
in
when
Birmingham
I were about
courthouse.
70.
That's what I thought.
I could bring everything up with but you see, I'm 90. Going for 91. So.
I'm getting close to that.
Didn't that Wheatley tell us there was a fire that some of the records were
The
lost? Or
courthouse
did I?
had fire and all
Yeah.
those records were destroyed.
Well, that's the way my son and I was looking yesterday for certain records down at a museum there in Maysville, and we was looking for over in Aberdeen, see, and they said these two people they didn't keep a lot of records, and said also that a lot of records were burned about that time. Had a fire
I know.
over there, and so the lady said, said, we got a lot of paper clippings. Said that'd be where to find it. Well, she didn't have any papers, thing on paper for that
For that
that-
period.
that 1 or 2 years in there. All the rest of them she had.
Well, that way, what the court record anymore. They let a truck or two fit in on the computer and mark it off. They don't do nothing with the people no more.
I think Mr. Wheatley said too that like we were gonna look for the divorce records, or maybe it was Nellie that told
Yeah.
the divorce records and things. They didn't file them. They just threw them in boxes and
Oh,
stored them.
Yeah, divorce records are hard. You can find marriage records
Yeah,
a
but
lot easier. And
just was no
birth
record
records
keeping.
sometimes. But even if you get so far back, you lose them.
Mhm.